This is the matter of Barbara Smith. Hello, ma'am.
Good morning.
My name is Claire Grandison. I'm the administrative law judge. I know you received an unfavorable decision. You appealed, requesting a hearing, and your hearing is scheduled for today. I'll let your attorney enter his appearance.
John S. Whitelaw from Community Legal Services representing Ms. Smith, and we have waived any fee in this matter, Your Honor.
We'll identify the exhibits. These are all B exhibits. We have 1A through 2A, 1B through 17B, 1D through 4D, 1E through 5E, 1F through 12F. Those have been added to the record. Is the record complete?
I think it's complete, Your Honor.
Everything is admitted. This is a claim for benefits under Title 16. Have you explained the issues to your client, and do you waive further reading of them?
I have, Your Honor, and yes, I waive any further reading of the issues.
We have an onset date alleged as January 1st, 2008, with a protected filing date of June 4th, 2009.
We'll amend to the filing date, Your Honor. There's no point to having an earlier onset date allegation.
So we'll note that. Let me go through and explain to everyone what my practice is. Basically, I'll ask questions. Of course, if anyone doesn't understand anything, you let me know, and I'll be glad to rephrase or repeat any question. Ms. Smith, what's the highest grade that you finished in school?
9th?
Are you able to read and write?
Yes.
Do basic math?
Yes.
Are you working now?
No.
Have you worked in the past?
Years ago?
I have some reference to being a cleaner many years ago. Have you worked full-time?
No.
What's the longest period that you've worked?
6 months?
Was that a welfare to work program?
Yes.
You've never worked full-time?
No.
Do you think that you can work?
No.
Why is it that you believe you cannot work?
Right now I don't feel like I'm mentally stable or physically stable.
When you say you're not mentally stable, what do you mean by that? This is your opportunity to tell me why you can't work. I see there are physical issues that have been identified. We need to cover those as well. We'll start with the mental health issues. What is that you feel affects you in terms of your mental health and your ability to work?
My depression is bad.
Explain to me why it is that you went back to Warren E. Smith. You had been out of treatment there.
Yes.
And you've been without medication. I see that you're going to Drexel. They're trying to treat you. I guess they were assuming you were in treatment for your mental health. I'm not clear what the picture is here. Can you tell me why you haven't been consistent with following up with your mental health treatment?
When I go to Warren E. Smith for my treatments, I do go and I get the medicine and I take the medicine. And then sometimes I just stop. I drink because I feel like that helps me. I just get confused. When I get depressed and don't want to go out of the house, I don't. It's hard to explain.
This is your hearing. I want to make sure you're able to explain to me what these issues are.
I want the help and I need the help, but my depression, sometimes I just don't want to go out of the house and deal with it. It's hard and it's hurting me.
Now, your weight is an issue. How tall are you?
5'4",
How much do you weigh?
375.
Have you gained or lost any significant weight recently?
I gained.
How much?
Over the last year, about 25 pounds.
You're seeing a psychiatrist now?
Yes, when I go.
Just tell me, who do you see?
I was just getting therapy. I had seen a psychiatrist one time, but I was just seeing the therapist and a doctor.
You saw a doctor. How often did you see the doctor?
Once a month?
That's to go through your medication and everything?
Yes.
How about the therapist?
When I was in the day program, I would see her as much as I needed to, but when I was doing outpatient, that's once a week.
What were you doing in the day program?
Sitting in, listening. We have therapy, took classes, and it was just like different programs. You could do arts and crafts and different stuff like that.
How long were you in the program?
I was in that program one time for like 4 months. I went back and I might have did like 2 months.
How often did you go?
I might have went like 4 days out of the week.
Do you have any physical problems that affect your ability to work?
Yes.
What are they?
My body hurts from the weight. I can't stand or walk or sit too long. My knees hurt, my feet hurt, I have carpal tunnel, my back hurts.
In terms of your back issues, I really didn't see too much in terms of x-rays or MRIs or anything in this file, Mr. Whitelaw. In terms of the back, I see that you were referred, you had some x-rays of your back, but they were normal in the past?
They probably were. I was also told I have arthritis in my back also.
This is 10F. These are the Drexel records. I'm just trying to pin down what kind of studies that we have.
Your Honor, I don't think there's much in the way of radiographic studies. I think it's pretty clear from the record from her treating source at Drexel that the weight is contributing to the bulk of the pain.
Your doctors have tried to encourage you to be more active physically. Have you done anything to try to exercise?
I tried walking, dieting, moving around. I'm in pain, and then my depression, I don't want to go outside to do all that.
Can you do any exercises in the inside? Did you discuss with any doctor about how you can do any exercises in the house?
Going up and down the steps is a problem for me, but I can probably try it.
In the house, or where are the steps at?
Inside the house.
Are you able to go up and down the steps in your house?
No, if I come down the stairs, I'm down there for maybe about most of the day until I go back upstairs. Can I stand up for a minute?
Of course. You should feel free to stand if you need to. Are you taking any medication for your back?
I take Tylenol, arthritis, and Motrin. That's what they prescribe, but I also take other over-the-counter drugs. They just give me pain medication, but everything is my weight. That's what they tell me.
Does the pain medication help at all?
Sometimes. I think it eases the pain, but it never goes away.
I see you have a cane.
Yes.
Why did you get the cane?
I got the cane because my knees, they feel like they're going to give out on me. They actually prescribed me the cane.
How are you doing with the cane?
My body still hurts.
You mentioned carpal tunnel. I saw that there's a reference that you got some splints. Are you wearing them at all?
I wear them occasionally, but they get tight on my arm. I have an appointment on June 4th that I'm going to have to ask them to send me back over there to have them resized.
That's all the questions I have for Ms. Smith. Counsel, do you have any questions?
Briefly, Your Honor. Miss Smith, how did you get here today?
My sister?
Do you travel anywhere by yourself?
No.
What would happen if your sister hadn't brought you here today?
I probably wouldn't have come.
When you've come to see me in my office, Miss Smith, how have you got to my office?
My sister brings me.
Do you use public transportation at all?
No.
Why not?
I don't take the chance of not having a seat. They bump and jump around. I can't take public transportation.
Why can't you use public transport?
I can't do the stairs to use the subway.
What about the bus?
I can't stand long enough if I have to wait for it, and it's too bumpy. It just hurts my body. I can't do it.
A few minutes ago, you told the judge that you have depression and that you find it difficult to get out of the house. How do you get out of the house?
My sister comes and makes me get out of the house to get air.
This past weekend was Memorial Day weekend, Miss Smith. Did you go visit your mom?
Yes.
Is that something you wanted to do?
I wanted to, but not really. I didn't want to be around people. I wanted to be at my house.
How was it that it ended up happening?
My sister talked me into it.
If she hadn't talked you into it, would you have gone?
No.
Do you do your own grocery shopping?
No.
Who grocery shops for you?
My sister and my daughter.
Do you do your own laundry?
No.
Who does that?
My sister and my daughter.
Why don't you do those things for yourself?
I can't go down in the cellar.
What about the grocery shopping?
I can't walk around the store. I would have to stop and rest.
Do you cook?
No.
Why not?
It hurts to stand at the stove for more than a few minutes.
What about the laundry?
I can't go down the steps or carry the clothes basket.
Where are the washer and dryer?
In the basement?
Do you get dressed every day?
No. Sometimes I just have no energy. I lie in bed, and when I finally get up, I don't even bother to put my clothes on. I just stay in my night clothes.
Do you have good days and bad days?
Yes.
What happens on a bad day?
That's when I can barely get out of bed.
In a regular week, how many good days do you have and how many bad days?
In a week, I always have at least 1 or 2 bad days.
Ms. Smith, you have a son. How does he get to school?
He gets himself up and he makes his own breakfast. He usually tells me when he's leaving the house.
Ms. Smith, I see that you have a cane with you. How often do you use your cane?
Whenever I leave the house,
Why do you use the cane?
I don't feel steady on my feet. I feel as if I'm going to fall down. That's happened before.
How often do you fall?
When I lose my footing.
And when was the last time that happened?
About 2 weeks ago when I was going to my doctor, I stumbled coming out of my house and I fell.
And what about the time before that?
Maybe a month or 2 before that. I was going to therapy and I slipped and I fell.
Was your cane prescribed by a doctor?
Yes,
What doctor?
my primary care doctor.
Do you use your cane inside the house?
Not usually.
What do you do to get around inside the house?
I grab onto the furniture as I move around, to keep myself steady.
Ms. Smith, do you really care about anything much at the moment?
No, not really.
Why not?
I don't feel full of life.
I also noticed that you're taking a drug called Geodon.
Yes.
Do you know why you take it?
Yes.
Why?
For my head.
What do you mean by that?
I hear voices.
How long have you had a problem with voices in your head?
For several years now.
When you say several years, what do you mean by that?
Like 4 or 5 years.
These voices, can you describe them?
Well, they tell me that I'm no good, that I'm fat.
Do you recognize the voices?
No, I don't.
How often do they happen?
When I'm upset,
How often is that?
a lot.
When is the last time that you heard these voices?
A few days ago,
And the time before that?
perhaps the week before.
How long do they last?
A few minutes and then they go away.
Does the medication help with the voices?
Yes, but I still hear the voices, just not as much.
Do the voices bother you?
Yes, I do get upset when I hear them because I don't want people to think that I'm crazy.
You have a son in high school.
Yes.
Does he play football?
Yes.
Do you go to his games?
No.
Why not?
I can't fit in the seat, I can't walk, and I don't want to be around people. I'm ashamed to be out there around his friends. I did go once, but everyone was looking at me because I'm too big. It was really embarrassing.
Have you tried to lose weight?
Yes.
Are you deliberately not losing weight?
No.
How long have you had a problem with your weight?
All my life?
Ms. Smith, do you think you could manage without your family's help?
No.
What would happen to you?
I don't know. I have no idea.
What would happen to you, Ms. Smith?
I don't know. I have no idea.
I see that you've been in and out of mental health treatment. What is the reason for that?
Sometimes I get so depressed that I just give up. I can't leave the house. I feel like I'm getting nowhere and it's all pointless.
I also see that you've missed many appointments. Why is that?
Well, I try to go. I go whenever I can. It seems like all I do is go to appointments. But if I'm not feeling well, sometimes I just can't go.
Are you deliberately missing those appointments?
No, I try to go when I can.
I have nothing further for the claimant, Your Honor.
Let's turn to the vocational expert. Mr. Stephen Turetsky, have you had any prior professional or personal contact with the claimant?
No.
Are you familiar with jobs that exist in the region and in the national economy?
Yes.
Have you reviewed the file and the exhibits to familiarize yourself with the claimant's vocational background?
Yes, I have.
There is no past relevant work. I don't know if you have any other questions for us.
No.
All right. Please assume an individual the same age, education, and work experience as the claimant, limited to 10 pounds lifting, standing for 1 to 2 hours, sitting for 6 to 8 hours. No more than occasional push-pull with the lower or upper extremities, climbing stairs and using ramps, balancing, stooping, and kneeling. No climbing ladders, ropes, scaffolds, crouching, crawling, exposure to hazards including moving machinery and unprotected heights. Avoid frequent exposure to extreme temperatures. wetness, humidity, as well as pulmonary irritants including fumes, odors, dust, gases, and poor ventilation. Requiring sit-stand at will. Work involving simple, routine tasks with short, simple instructions. Simple work-related decisions with few workplace changes. Occasional interactions with public, coworkers, and supervisors. Would there be work available?
Yes, there would be.
Can you provide examples, please?
Yes, and my opinion as to the availability of jobs and the frequency is based on professional experience in performing on-site job analysis, labor market research, and job placement. So the numbers that I'm going to give are going to be reduced by 50% because of the sit-stand option that you imposed in your hypothetical. So based on all of that, there are 3 jobs that come to mind. Compact assembler, which is sedentary, unskilled, SVP2, 739.687-066, 90,000 nationally, regionally 250. Document preparation, microfilm, sedentary, unskilled, SVP2, 249.587-018, nationally 120,000 jobs, regionally 800. And finally, laminator, sedentary, unskilled, SVP2, 690.685-258, nationally 80,000, regionally 200.
Can you tell me what are the permissible breaks?
Well, lunch, two 15-minute breaks. That's basically it for this kind of a job.
If the person were off task more than 10% on a consistent basis for any reason, in addition to allowable breaks, would there be work available?
No, they would not be able to meet productivity expectations.
Any questions, Mr. Whitelaw?
Briefly, Your Honor. Mr. Turetsky, is it true that attendance is important in the jobs that you identified?
Well, of course, yes. In this type of jobs, attendance is crucial.
What are the permissible absences?
Maximum of 1 per month.
If a worker asked for more than 1 day a month on a consistent basis, would there be work available?
No, there would not. It exceeds all reasonable and customary tolerance for absenteeism.
Now, Mr. Turetsky, I'd like you to assume the following hypothetical. An individual with the same age, education, and work background as set out by the administrative law judge in her hypothetical. And in addition to those limitations, I would like you to assume the following restrictions. And if you'd like to follow along where those limits are coming from, I'll draw your attention to Exhibit 8F, which is a mental functioning questionnaire completed by Ms. Smith's psychiatrist. And those limitations are, in addition, marked restriction in the ability to accept instructions and respond appropriately to criticism, a marked restriction in the ability to get along with co-workers without distracting them, and a marked restriction in the ability to maintain socially appropriate behavior. With those limitations, would there be any jobs that such an individual could perform?
Well, I'm confused, counsel, because those limitations are different from what the ALJ said about being able to perform simple routine work.
Okay then, Mr. Turetsky, let me just rephrase the question. Let's assume the same age, education, and past relevant work as the administrative law judge, the same restriction to sedentary work, and for mental restrictions, those 3 marked restrictions that I just identified. Would there be jobs under those circumstances?
No, there would not be.
I believe you testified at the beginning of your testimony that you based your conclusion about the availability of jobs for the sit-stand option based upon your experience, market analysis, and job surveys.
Yeah, I did.
I would request, Your Honor, that any market analysis and job surveys regarding a sit-stand option be produced so that I may review it.
I'll consider it. We're not going to do it at the hearing.
Otherwise, I'm not able to do any cross-examination on what forms the basis for her opinion.
I'll consider it. Do you have any questions you want to ask her about? You can ask questions about whatever.
Mr. Turetsky, what most recent study have you conducted regarding the availability of a sit-stand option in the jobs you cited?
In the past year.
How many employers did you contact?
When I do labor market research, it's generally about 5 to 6 per each job title I look at.
Have you reduced that to writing?
Yeah, I've compiled them in a job bank, in the writing in a job bank. It would be noted in there.
For these specific jobs?
Some of them, yeah. Compact assembler, definitely. I've looked at assembler of electrical accessories. There have been some different inspection jobs.
Your surveys have all been local or national?
Mostly local on these issues and job titles.
How did you arrive at the 50% reduction on the survey?
Over the years, in general, industrial type occupations, it's basically 50-50 in my experience. That's all I can say.
I have no further questions, Mr. Turetsky.
Mr. Whitelaw, to the extent there is any issue remaining with respect to that, why don't you give a request in writing?
Yes, Your Honor.
Other than as you've explained, Mr. Stephen Turetsky, has your testimony been based upon the Dictionary of Occupational Titles?
Yes, Your Honor.
If you would like to make any requests in writing, Mr. Whitelaw, we'll keep the record open for 5 days.
Yes, Your Honor.
With that, we'll close the hearing.
Thank you, Your Honor.